Welcome back to the garage. Get the appropriate screwdriver and let's get her done. Alright, today's project, building a lawn roller. So, this is a really simple DIY, great beginner welding project because if it falls apart, no one's going to die. You just look like an idiot in your front yard. Good time to fire up the old 110 volt Harbor Freight MIG welder. So, this is your lawn roller yard sailed out. So, first things first, tank. Gotta have a big tank. Don't get a 55-gallon oil drum. Problem with it is they got ribs on them. They don't work very well. Yes, they're cheap. They're super easy to get a hold of. They don't work. What works really good? Air compressor tanks. This is a 60-gallon. It's about 50 inches across. And I even got lucky and it had a fitting on the top and the bottom dead center. So all I had to do is bore out to whatever size my shaft's going to be, or whatever size your shaft will be. And cut all the extra giblets off that you don't need, which is just, 15, 20 minutes with the old death wheel, and away you go. So, get yourself a tank. I'm water filling mine because then I can just dump the water out, and if I ever want to just put it in the back of my pickup, I can. If you fill it with concrete, you never take the weight out. Go with what works for you. So, the biggest thing that people screw up is you need a pillow block bearing. Pillow as in like what you have on your bed. Now some people do just put pipes in there and that. You can get a set of pillow block bearings. These are off Amazon. They're good for 1,500 pounds of pull. 60-gallon tank filled with water comes out to be 500 pounds. A set of these was like 15 bucks, and they're greasable. So, set of pillow block bearings. Get the appropriate size shaft. Now, if you want to be cheap and you don't want to actually buy shafts, what you do, get yourself the appropriate size bolt, lop the head off, hit her on the old wire wheel, take off all the not so goodness for when welding, and then you just jam your lady right in the hole there. Ta freaking da. Now, you need your set of pole arms with appropriately sized steel, or whatever you can get from your getting spot, as AVE would say. You probably don't need it this heavy, but I get what I get. So, drill and bolt your pillow block bearings to your pole arms. Now go to your pole bar. Arm, bar. Again, this is going to actually need to be probably the heaviest part of this whole thing because that's where all the stress is going to go. Zap it, ta-da. See? Real simple engineering project here. Your drawbar, piece of square tube. I'm actually using just 3/8 angle irons. I got it out of the dumpster. Angle iron, whatever, make yourself your hitch. You do want to brace it accordingly. Depending on what you do, you might want to brace your corners there. I'm not because I got so much meat there, I'm just going to pour the coals to it with the old welder. Make yourself the end bits. Drill your holes, or find something that already has holes drilled in there, stick it in the old bandsaw and make it work for you. And don't forget a hitch pin, because no one wants to pull stuff around their yard with a bolt. There you go. Really simple project. I'm going to start fabbing mine up. But the only other thing that you're going to have to worry about is plugging off some fittings on the top here. Depends on what you use. If you use an old propane tank, be careful if you do. No one wants to ride an angle grinder in a low Earth orbit. I just got to plug off a couple fittings. That one's probably just going to get the old zappity zap. That one's going to become my fill hole. That one's going to have a shaft in it. So, there you go. Next clip you're going to see is when I actually have this thing somewhat together-ish. So, thank you.
Hey, it's been a while. So that last clip you saw was actually filmed March 7th, 2020. Today is March 6th, 2021. I don't need to go into what happened in 2020, but I had to tear down my whole office so my wife could work from home, got married, had like 4 other weddings. Time got away from me. So, 364 days later, I'm going to finish this video, I swear. So, let me flip you guys around here. All right, I'm at my out of sight, out of mind storage location, also known as behind the shed. So here's the finished product. I didn't get to use it a whole lot because we had a drought last year. Add that to 2020. But otherwise, everything went well. Got it all together. I would say the two things that I learned is, one, getting that shaft lined up there. Because I didn't put a shaft through, I used 2 bolts. That was a little harder to get those square, but it wasn't bad. It's got a little run out, but who cares? But a shaft probably is a lot easier if you're not going to be patient. And one thing I would probably do differently is make my fill hole a little bit bigger, because it just takes a little longer, and maybe make an adapter to plug my hose on. But you do whatever's going to work for you. But otherwise, it did work well. Pulls nice and easy. The El Cheapo Amazon bearings work just like they need to. So there you go, guys. A year later almost, and there's your final project. If you got any questions or comments, throw them down below. I gladly will talk back to you guys as much as I can. Sorry I didn't show any of the actual welding. I don't feel like putting my phone in harm's way. But if you want to see welding, there's plenty of other welding channels. And I'm not a professional welder. I just make it work. So, alrighty. Final project process. All good. Successful project.